went over a lot of the basics. Now we're going to get a little bit into the power of editing and another workspace that's going to help you do that. And that is, I'm going to get back to my selection tool. Whenever you switch tools, be sure to switch back to the one that's the most commonly used. And I'm going to go to Workspaces up here in the corner, and I'm going to click on Effects. And what this does is reconfigures all of your panels. You've still got this panel right here, and the project panel, and the program panel, and the timeline panel, and the toolbox panel, but now you've got the effects panel on the side. And there's quite a few things here that you can use. However, I'm going to focus on a few of them, and one of them, start with the easy ones, is a video transition. So video transition is applied towards where two clips connect. So this line right here is just a straight cut from one shot to the next shot, frame by frame. I can get really close and you can just see it's just jumping. Transitions just create a buffer between before and after that jump. So I'm going to do something really simple. I'm going to do a page peel. I don't generally use transitions. I just like to show how they work. They're just unnecessarily flashy. But it's a real easy drag and drop procedure. You simply drop the transition into the clip, and sometimes it spans both sides, sometimes it's on one side. It's been a while, but you can see that the transition shows that page turn from one shot to another, and you are losing some of the frames in the shot that you cover up. You can extend that transition to make it last longer so that it takes a bit of time to peel away, or you can shorten it up by intuitively just shortening the length. There's quite a few video transitions that you can use. Feel free to explore them and experiment as part of this. I'm looking for that exploration, experimentation, developing your skills. So try a lot when I see your sample clip. It'll help me see what you've tried. Moving on from video transitions, audio transitions are very similar. Most of them are crossfades. They basically go between two audio clips, and they just fade from one to the other. You'll use them occasionally when you don't want a jarring jump from one song to the next. It'll smooth out the ending of a film, or it'll smooth out the transition from one song to another. But what's really cool here is there's a ton of video effects, and each one of these works differently. It's really hard to go through and show you, hundreds of different effects. Some of them are really easy to tell. Some of them not so much, and a lot of them will have some control you can use to change it. And here's what I mean by that. So let me just do a real quick distort. I'm going to take where's the I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take twirl and just show you what it looks like. I'm going to drag this effect down here, right onto the video clip. And you'll notice here, this panel is turned to effects control. This is going to come in a lot later, but what I wanted to point out was that twirl effect, you can't really see what it's doing right now because it hasn't been changed. It's got a 0 angle. So anytime you see an effect or any of these blue numbers, you can take them and you can move them. And in this case, now you're starting to see what the twirl effect is doing for that clip. And the higher degree that I give it, the more obvious the effect is. And so this is now expanding the radius, and then you can move the center off to different spots on the video. So play around with that. Some of them are going to be really obvious and instantaneous. Some of them are going to be a little bit more subtle. For example, this one's a pretty complicated one. It's a lightning one. I drop the lightning on, and you see the lightning has quite a few properties. We'll probably do something with that later as a learning activity for figuring out what this does, which is called keyframing. So play around with effects, see what you can make happen. If it doesn't automatically show up, see if you can uncover it by changing the properties of that effect in your video panel here for the effect panel for effect controls. And then I'm going to move on to one other thing, which is the titles. So titles too, you can switch this to captions and graphics, which rearranges again. I'm not sure I really like that. I'm going to go back to editing because it'll work with that too. And the easiest way to make a title, really, and if you're not trying to get a preset, is to click on the title tool, text tool. Click and hold, you've got a vertical type, leave it on, it's a horizontal. You draw a text box onto your video, and then you type, my summer. Now, it's not that easy to see, but I do also need to show you that title has been added to your timeline. So I'm going to shrink things down a bit so I could show you that. And that clip right there, let me zoom in on it. Again, you should be zooming and scrolling and learning how to navigate what you've got. That clip right there, that purple clip, is my title clip. So it's basically adding another layer of video, which you can do by right-clicking and adding as many tracks as you need, but it added it into the track that I already had. And then when you double-click that title, wow, you used to be able to get to this panel. There are some properties that you can work with. So I guess since it didn't pop up automatically, oh wait, there it is. Here it is. This panel became the title panel. It must be a small change. It used to pop up on the right, or maybe it's because of how I arranged it. But anyway, this title, this panel gives you more control over that. So this panel is dealing with that text because I double-clicked it. So I'm going to highlight that text and make some changes to it. One of the changes I'd like to do is to just make it bigger. So I'm going to look for size. There we go. And that actually makes the whole box bigger. There's the font one. So that's going to make my font size bigger. And then I also want to change maybe the font size to get something a little bit less than or a little bit better than the default. Any font that you want, you can basically find online and download. I'm going to just go with the American Dream. And now that it's bigger, I have to bring the font down so I can see it. And so that's what the American Dream one does. And then you've also got appearance options, alignment options, very similar to text tools that you use. I'm going to add a stroke on the outside of that, and I'm going to make that a dark red. And that stroke is basically another outside level. And if you wanted to add another stroke, you could. You can create a background. You can create a drop shadow just to give it a style. So I'll go ahead and add that drop shadow, and you get the idea. Make it a blue drop shadow. You get the idea of what's happening there. You're just modifying the text so that it's customized. Never underestimate the value of a custom font. I do that a lot with plays that I'm recording for theater. If you want to make a sci-fi, you might want to use a font from like Star Trek or something like that. So again, you go online and you download fonts. You can find them quickly and apply them to your project this way. So that's everything that we're looking to do for the rest of this project. You're just going to play with the footage that you've got, make lots of changes, make lots of titles, describe what you're doing, especially if you want to show me what effect you applied or what shot that you're doing. And then that's it for the editing. One more tutorial after this.